Yo, I don't know if you ever had one of those dreams that people talk about where you wind up somehow at work, butt ass naked in front of everybody and you're trying to escape or whatever it is. I don't know. I've actually never had one of those dreams, but I understand they're pretty common and people have them. I guess people are so anxious about their nudity that's why they have these kind of dreams. In any case, I thought it was interesting that instead of having that dream, I decided to take my mid-50s old man self in and strip down butt naked in front of a bunch of strangers just for the hell of it. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that experience, some thoughts that came about while I'm sitting there with nothing to do for 10 or 20 minutes at a time while people draw and sketch my old naked balls. So first thing, and this is in no particular order, the first thing that comes to mind is this thing was a lot more physically challenging than I would have thought. You know, it's like playing a game of freeze tag when you're a kid, but everyone else goes home to dinner and forgets to tell you that the game is over and you're still standing there trying to hold. So it's like basically an isometric pose for 10, and the longest poses were like 20 minutes long. And I realized, especially now in retrospect, for whatever reason, one of those poses got both of my hip flexors kind of sore. So it's pretty cool. It's a physical challenge that I had not anticipated. But also, another thing I realized is that you have a lot of time to think when you're sitting there like a frozen deer in headlights and everyone is drawing you. And I thought a lot of weird things. My mind wandered to a lot of places. I remember one thing in particular had me kind of trying to hold back the laugh in my head because I was thinking, you know, the people on the Titanic, man, that thing went down and the band kept on playing famously. And I was like, what if they had a figure drawing exercise going on? Would they still have continued posing and drawing while the ship went down? That would have been funny if they did. Yo, another thing that really came to my thought process while we were doing this is that we are so far away as a society, right, from being who and what we are. We have all these filters and even fake AI caricatures of ourselves. I even saw some woman who had one of those fake AI things on my social media feed, and someone came along and said, "Oh, you look really good, girl." She's like, "Oh, thank you, girl." She's actually accepting compliments on her fake self, which, you know, that's pretty deep when you think about it. It's how far away we are from being who and what we actually are anymore. You know, it's almost ludicrous. So in order to go and strip down to the bare essential Amir in front of a room full of strangers, you know, it's a thing that you have to be profoundly comfortable with yourself in order to do that. And I think being profoundly comfortable with yourself is an important thing, an important place to find yourself in the world. Another thing this experience taught me is just how far we go in our day-to-day lives to try to convince ourselves and others of who and what we really are. We go out and spend a lot of time building this wardrobe and driving this type of a car, living in this type of a house, reading this type of a book, you know, having this type of a job, all to sort of bolster who we think we are and maybe inform others who they should think we are, right? Get their views to change based on what you do, how you live, where you are, how you look. And the problem there is that it's all adornment, it's all external to yourself, right? So when you don't have to go out and strip naked in front of strangers in order to find the beauty of self-acceptance, right? Not only your physical form, but everything about you is perfect as it is right now today. There's no need to change necessarily, but if you do want to change, that's not for today, that's for the future. And if you have a problem or you don't feel proud of some things that you have been in the past, that's also not for today because it's already happened. So if you can accept who you are and what you are as an individual to your core right now, if you can love and accept and embrace that person, then that's the beginning of having any real chance of having a better person evolve from that point. But it's not so easy to do because society has done a pretty good job of mind fucking us, right, into believing that we are not acceptable as who and what we are right now, which is, it's a shame, right? It's a great deception because you're perfect right now. Embrace that. Know that it's a reality and you'll be fine going forward, because otherwise all these possessions, all these things you adorn yourself with you don't possess them. In fact, if you're not careful, they may come to possess you. Because at the end of the day, the only thing you ever really truly possess and own in your life is this form, this being that you actually are. The uniqueness of yourself is all that you will ever own. Everything else is literally just a rental. So those are my thoughts. And the last thing I'll say before I go, and maybe one of the more important things, is go Bills.